This episode of Reasonably Spontaneous Conversation is brought to you in part by Clay Life and Business Coaching, because we all get stuck at times. For more information, visit clayboykin.com. By Janelli Bean, for fun and engaging children's books with cute and colorful characters. For more information, visit janellibean.com. And by Wise Owl Organizing, simply set up for you. Organizing consulting and clarity coaching, virtual or in person. For more information, visit wiseowlorganizing.com.
Hello, world. It's me, Dennis, and welcome to another episode of Reasonably Spontaneous Conversation. My guests today are world-renowned filmmakers Clere and Mick McIntyre, and they will be talking about their next project entitled Eating Plants. Just take a look at the trailer for this six-part series, which premieres May 9th, 2022.
Welcome to Eating Plants America. This show is all about food, but this time it's different.
It's probably the biggest culinary food trend in the world.
This, my friends, is what new food looks like.
So this is vegan chicken made from soya.
That looks like chicken to me.
This is amazing.
Secrets to our plant-based revolution.
This is probably the best tofu I've had.
The show will travel the globe and explore the world of plant-based eating.
Welcome to China, the fastest growing vegan market in the world.
Where we are today at the Sydney Vegan Markets, where everything is 100% plant-based.
I can't believe I'm in a supermarket that is all vegan.
The vegan pub in Britain. Cheers.
Food made from plants is loaded with goodness.
L'chaim.
We're going to learn a delicious recipe by Harel Zakhaev.
Oh my God.
Today we're making mac and cheese, my absolute childhood favorite.
Mine too.
So I really hope you enjoy this. It's easy. You can use ingredients you have at home.
A beautiful vegan fish.
A vegan diet is perfect at every stage of life.
Look at how colorful it is.
Look how rich and decadent that is.
So let's look towards plants to heal.
You reduce your risk of heart disease, of stroke, of cancer.
Plants give you all the protein that you need.
We're revolutionizing dairy with plants.
Looks, cooks, tastes like a beef burger.
It's juicy.
Right now, it's like the best time ever to be vegan.
Your diet choices not just drive your personal health, but the planetary health.
You just want to make more environmentally safe choices, but also protect the animals.
Throughout this series, we're going to be introducing you to the best food, products, restaurants, and experts in the plant-based movement.
Welcome to Eating Plants Germany.
Eating Plants Israel.
Eating Plants UK.
Eating Plants China.
Welcome to Eating Plants Australia.
Welcome to Reasonably Spontaneous Conversations.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thanks for having us.
It's deeply my pleasure. We're going to be talking about eating plants, and we're going to be having, of course, all of your videos and everything on the links that people can click on. But I want to ask you something on this. This is most amazing time. I've never seen an opportunity for people to have more choices. I mean, just channels to watch and choice. So how did you guys decide, of all the subjects in the world, decide and land on eating plants?
Well, thank you. I think it basically came from the release of our previous film, Kangaroo, A Love-Hate Story, which we're very proud of the success, and perhaps we can get to talk about that a bit later on. But
I love it.
The success of that film literally took us around the world. We got to do basically a screening tour across Europe and across America, and it was the people that we met on that screening tour that inspired us to create this new series.
That is amazing. And so in that series, when you looked at as a filmmaker to decide as a subject, Kate, how do you decide what you're going to write and how you're going to sculpt? How did you sculpt this into a series? Because you got to go through the entire pitch process, and then decide how you're going to do it and how you sectioned it out into 6 different parts of the world.
Well, we recognized that really the plant-based movement was going off. I mean, we could hardly catch up as we were making this film. There were so many new things happening. I mean, I think in America now, 39% of people are sort of flexitarians. They're choosing more and more plant food. So literally we were running to catch up. There was so much going on. And we knew it wasn't a trend. We knew it was like here to stay. So we wanted to really sort of capture this moment in time when, health, the planet, the animals, people were very interested in this topic. I mean, we started this before COVID-19 hit. And even then people were awake to these 3 things that were happening in the world. And so we were excited to actually make something that, because it's a world movement, we really wanted to capture it in 6 countries so we could sort of see just what was going on and what fun stuff was happening everywhere and how different cultures were heading into this movement. So basically we researched the top vegan hotspots in the world, and that found ourselves in those particular countries, which were America, UK, Germany, China, Israel, and Australia. Yeah, wow. So 6 episodes.
But it's tough. I mean, because you're making decisions that are going to impact the whole project. So yeah, you have to trust your instincts and trust what bounces off the page when you're researching. And and then when you make those decisions and you trust your gut, you go for it. I don't mean to sound flippant, because we put a lot of effort into our research and our decision making, but in the end you make a decision and you go for it.
I can imagine, and congratulations on doing this. And it was interesting. I remember back when the VCR first came out, they predicted that there would be like maybe 10,000 sold. Well, they just completely blew it off. Just from watching what you're doing and watching the faces and watching the kind of movement toward bringing the taste of plant-based into the place where meat is this confluence, makes me feel like that this is going to be an even bigger movement than we're predicting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we've even got some figures that we've been using in our publicity for the release of the series. Like, one of the figures we came up with, we're talking about a 3,000% increase since 2005.
Yes.
And if you look at, if I could put up a graph, the graph is doing this. So it hasn't even looked like plateauing.
Mm.
So the sky's the limit for the growth of this way of eating. And as Kate said, we thought very early on that we can see that this isn't just a trend. This is a what do some people call it, a plant-based revolution.
Yeah, I mean, and how wonderful, because the plants contribute oxygen to the planet. They don't do the opposite, that cattle have by any measure been an ecological disaster to the planet, to what they have done to the grasslands, what they've done to, I mean, in the United States, we used to have these tall grass prairies that the buffalo, they just moved from one place to another. But when they brought cattle in, it completely decimated completely devastated all of the prairies that we had there.
Yeah. And I think there's so many positives to people eating plant-based. I mean, their health is such a huge one. They've found the major 3 chronic diseases in America that people are dying from, which is cancer, heart disease, and diabetes, can all be helped, if not reversed, from a plant-based diet. So to choose that, even if you are moving towards a plate of plant food, you're not quite there. You're just choosing that as a major part of your diet. you're so going to improve your health. It just makes good sense. I mean, the doctors we talk to are so passionate about helping their patients, helping the people that come to them with these changes that people can actually do themselves. People are coming off medication with their doctors as they move into a more plant-based diet, and that can only be a good thing.
So in your sense, all right, so here we have, I am looking to move into this. Is there a way to ease into this to be able to get me, because I believe much more in gradients rather than binary. So I need to move away from this omnivore that I am, and moving more into a plant-based. So how do I start?
Yeah, it is quite complicated for people at the beginning because they're diets are so traditional part of your family, and it's a well-worn path. So what you need to do is, it can be so gradual because there's so many different options for what you're doing. All you need to do is replace what you're eating with a plant. So you're having like bolognese. You could use lentils in your bolognese, or tofu or tempeh in your bolognese. That just one night, try it out, see if you like it. Then the next night you can have, like, if you're having a taco or something and you have fish in it, you could try having jackfruit, which is something that they're using. You can just try
on your cereal in the morning is a pretty simple one.
Yeah.
Instead of cow's milk, you could try plant milk. One of the people in our show is an elite footballer here in Australia, and she put it that when she first wanted to go plant-based, as Kate said, she identified what she loved, and then she set out to translate that into a plant-based dish, as Kate said, and she found that very useful. So whatever she was eating, she sought to find the plant-based alternative. And she said, with the shopping supermarket shelves the way they are, it wasn't that difficult for her because of the options that are now on the supermarket shelves.
And that's the option. That's the neat part about it, is that we're beginning to see. I noticed that when I go into the grocery store, they're moving farther and farther out into the normal rows. Are you seeing the same thing in Australia and the same thing around the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, everywhere. I think entrepreneurs in this space are really increasing, and their profit margins are growing because more and more people are looking for options. In fact, in America, meat eaters are choosing to eat things like the Impossible or the Beyond Meat because it's a nice option. They can put it on at barbecues for friends and stuff. It is they're working towards the meat industry as the people who eat meat as well. They are really interested in capturing that market and showing that these new plant meats can be really interesting. And the same with fish, the same with milk, the same with cheeses. And we went and saw Miyoko's cheese factory up in Northern California, and boy, the cheeses were amazing. I've never seen so many like special vintage cheeses that she's just honed her technique over the years and made some absolutely delicious options. So people that feel that they can't give up, say, cheese, there are actually so many options you can use now. There's just your regular Parmesan or cheddar or whatever you're using. And if you're in the supermarket, you could just go, this week, I might try that plant-based option. And I mean, even for people who are eating more and more plants, there's so many new options all the time. Everyone's really experimenting, which is a really fun new part of this whole plant-based movement, is the chefs experimenting with plants.
That is one. And so now, all right. So now you put this into a 6-part series. Then you go out. So now, how do you decide to break through to the interest of people? What is your route? What is your route into my television screen so that I'll do it? How did you get into the marketing phase of this?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Documentary filmmakers, it's a very crowded space, which is a good thing.
Wonderful. I mean, it's never been more richer. I don't think there's ever been a time.
Yeah. And online streaming has seen a resurgence in documentary making. So, yeah, I mean, which is really inspiring for us. Look, there's a lot of there's a lot of hard work in reaching out to and networking. We back on the success of our previous films, not just Kangaroo, but some of our previous films. We have Yoga Woman. We have solid relationships with some of the international distributors, which, you know, we've earned that right to talk to them because of the success of our previous films. And one of those distributors took you know, signed Eating Plants, which is fantastic for us because that took a lot of the heavy lifting for the TV networks. And it's out there selling to TV networks at the moment. But we never ever sell the rights to us being able to distribute it ourselves online. You know, it's one of the things that we love. And we're currently planning our big online release party coming up. I think it's the second weekend of May. So it's like in a month's time. That's something that we really cherish, the chance that we get to talk to people who want to see the film. And back to your question, that requires us to publicize that and to spend time on social media, making sure that, you know, people know about it.
Yeah, that's the thing about just sitting back and going, okay, well, I finished the film and now we're done. That's no longer the case.
No. And I think it's a fun part of the series. I mean, you do have to pick up, you know, you finish your edit and you're all, yay, we finished. And then really the next day you're back at work, just getting the film out there. So you're certainly not, the finances and the time and your creativity does not finish the day you finish in the edit suite by any means these days. And
but that's by choice too. We like that.
We think we
enjoy that part of it, don't we? Yeah.
And also we get to talk to people and meet people and that's a great fun new part of the filmmakers journey that you can take these days.
Because of online social
media. Yeah, because of
yeah.
online. And I mean, people have got very used to, during the COVID lockdowns, got very used to seeing new movies online, doing much more distribution and red carpets.
This sort of interview.
Yeah, this sort of interview, even red carpets online. So in some ways that's been, you know, interesting for the industry, a new way of doing a red carpet.
And that you're having, all right, now, so this will come out then in the second week in May, and then will people to subscribe to that network? How is it going to work?
Well, we're putting it, as I say, we're offering people the opportunity to watch it on our streaming network, if you like.
Just our website. From our website.
Yeah. Yep. And then, but that's the most obvious way for people to see it. They can go to our website, eatingplants.tv, and they can order it and stream it there. And then they can follow us on social media, and you know, we will keep announcing what networks have bought it and where else they can see it. But the immediate, we hope that people will jump on and want to see it straight away, and that's through eatingplants.tv.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, all right, now that you have this, how do you queue up your next projects that go on? I mean, because one of the things is that we have to keep multiple projects going at the same time rather than just going here to there, right? And so how do you keep that part going?
One of the things that's already started happening is that people are writing in and going, we love this. Could you come and visit us here in Ireland? We have some great whole vegan things happening here and plant-based things. So there is a bit of a temptation to do series 2 at the moment of Eating Plants. So, but we always we're partners in life as well as filmmaking. So we discuss documentary potential nearly every day.
Oh, yeah, as you have. I mean, it's endless subjects. So how is the creative process with you two? How because I've written with in a team before and worked together in a team. I love the collaborative process. Can you describe the Mick and Kate collaborative process?
Yeah, wow, I think well, we start with the intention, don't we? We start with an intention of what we want to do, and then we sit down, and after, you know, working together for 20 years, I think we've figured out our strengths and weaknesses, haven't we?
Yeah.
I mean, in the beginning, it was it was, you know, I'm not saying we got it perfect, but we sit down. and we go for it, and we identify what our roles are.
I think we're really cognizant of the fact that these projects take like 3, and in the case of Kangaroos, about 8 years to make. So you want to be working on the topic that you're working on. You want to really choose something that you feel is people don't know about, that there's an interest in, that there's a marketability to it, but also that you're going to want to know about, because basically you're doing a little PhD every time you make something. So you want to know that you want to stay in that space for 3 or 4 years. And, when we're talking about topics off the newspaper and what we're hearing about every day, I'll often go, or Mick will often go, oh, I don't want to spend 4 years on that topic,
what a great reason. Because I will get fascinated, but I won't look. So you guys look ahead and say, okay, do I really want to spend that much time on? That is brilliant. Thank you.
Well, if we go back to our original intent, I said it starts with an intention, and I'll just mention that when we started Second Nature Films, which was over 20 years ago, we set up Second Nature Films with the intention that we would only produce films that inspired us and inspired other people, and it was about environmental and social issues. So that does narrow down our choices a little bit. So that helps us, because that's really important to us. And back to Kate's thing, that's when we're choosing a project, we go, okay, for 3 or 4 years, is this going to continue to inspire us, and is this going to continue to create an opportunity to talk about environmental and social issues? But yeah, it's tough. I mean, I've probably got I've got a list of films that I want to make, but I'm probably going to make a fraction of them. So
we both have to agree as well.
Yes. All right. Well, take me back to the genesis of this particular. How did it happen? The very beginning of this, when you got a niggling to be able to go from a little itch to suddenly, hey.
Well, I think, as I said earlier, we were so grateful and lucky that Kangaroo was so successful. It was so successful that we ended up touring China, and that was magnificent. We screened Kangaroo in 7 cities, which was just a lifelong memory for us. And it was in China that we were blown away by the plant-based eating. And we'd been talking about it, but it was in China that we realized, oh, right, this is really interesting, because China's so exotic, and so the people are incredible and friendly and generous. And it was in China that the kernel really started to form. And we thought, oh, wouldn't it be amazing to film a segment here in China? And from there it grew. And then we decided, and as Kate said, then we researched the countries. The idea of a TV show, we'd never made a TV show. We'd never made a TV show before, but somehow we just went series, So yeah,
I think the upbeat nature of this and of this series and the interest we had and the way we went about it, we just thought it fit a series, kind of a lifestyle, food, upbeat series. And interestingly enough, travel has not been part of people's lives for a couple of years, and it's one of the feedbacks we are getting from early screenings is how much fun people are having traveling with the series and being in different countries and sort of remembering life in Berlin, remembering a trip to Beijing they once had. So it's a fun part of the food series is actually traveling with it.
I think the other thing, Kate and I, we're not afraid to take on world topics, are we? I mean, that's something.
We seem to like that.
We seem to like taking on topics that involve.
Thank you.
And so and so that was almost a given, wasn't it? That we would do this in different countries.
Yeah.
And then when we started doing the research, we were really inspired and excited. And as Kate said, though, we were pedaling fast, weren't we, to keep up with the technology and the new space. And the plant-based movement is just changing so rapidly. Yeah. Anyway.
And being from Australia, when we make a decision to travel, it's quite a big decision because we have a long way to come.
Other side of the world.
And so, basically we went on a tour from America to Germany, to the UK, to Israel, to China, and back to Australia. We did it all in one swoop. So people have to be available when we're there, and there's all sorts of timing and things.
It's military-like, isn't it?
It's military, and it's also
well, everything is. It's logistics.
Yeah.
Everything has to do. It's what one of the things that I have a problem is that I have a tendency to want to turn the damn camera on, but everything that works in pre-production. That's when the more I invest in pre-production, the more everything else goes smoothly. But the logistics of what you did, how did you audition the cast? Did you get local crews to be able to do? Because it seems to me to be possible logistically to be able to do this in a way. Can you talk about the logistics?
Yeah, it was tough. Again, not only had we never done a TV series before, we'd never shot 3 cameras before either. But hey, what the heck? Let's just do it.
Sure, right? We won't do single camera. Let's just do it.
And we're going to tour 5 different countries. Yeah, well, 3 cameras, 5 different countries. What the heck?
Well, yeah, no problem. We got this.
What were we thinking? Oh my goodness. It was tough.
I have to say that the new world of cameras, though, has made it.
I know,
and tripods.
but I'm talking about creatively, like to figure out camera placement and anyway. So to back to your point, we figured out, as you say, preparation and pre-production. We realized I'm the cinematographer. I had to realize, okay, how am I going to do this when we're such a small crew? How are we going to do this? And we figured out that what we would do is we would hire one camera person in each place. And whether we worried about sound or any sort of makeup or wardrobe, whatever, we did that later. But we figured out at the very least, we would need one extra camera person that would be on location with us. And between the camera person and myself, we figured out, and Kate would help with camera as well, we would figure out how those 3 cameras would work. But then logistically, how do we travel with 3 cameras and lights? And as Kate said, though, luckily, with the onset of the DSLRs, our main camera is a decent camera, but the other 2 were DSLRs. So that enabled us to be able to be mobile enough. But yeah, it was logistically tough. And
I think on the sort of people side of things, we
cast, you mean?
On the cast and the host, we actually hadn't worked with a host before either. So it was really fun and quite tricky looking for hosts in each country. We really wanted them to be.
We had to audition them without meeting them, right?
We had to audition them online and get recommendations and, ask agents and just ask around. And, there's in this world we now live in, there's such a great networks everywhere. And we had met a lot of people on our tours with Kangaroos and other films. So we could really, we feel very comfortable with that now. And, sometimes serendipitously someone is available and someone else isn't for whatever reason for the dates we can be there. So in a way, your creativity on a project like this has to be a little bit serendipitous as well. And you kind of end up with what was available and able while you were there. And that's a really fun part of it too. We just met the most brilliant people and they're doing such interesting and fun and incredible stuff, and we just really went with that. You can't, if you haven't got a film set and you haven't got $1 million and you haven't got all the time in the world, you really just, what happens is also part of the creative process.
What a big part does serendipity play in your, because I have seen at 74, I know the synchronicity and serendipity are absolutely with me all the time. I may ignore it, but it's to my detriment and to the detriment of everything we create if I do.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier about how we trust our instincts, and once we've set our intention, it seems to guide us to trust what's going on. Doesn't mean when you're tired and grumpy and hot or cold on location that it's not tricky. That really stretches you, and you've got a cast member who doesn't want to talk. So, but Yeah, look, you do. It is very organic, and I think that's what really appeals to me as a documentary maker. That it is so organic. Yes, there's a lot of preparation. I mean, we haven't even talked about the post-production process, because the post-production process really takes on a life of its own, doesn't it? It becomes a living animal. And you bring in the editor who we've worked with on literally all of our films. We think he's the best editor in Australia, and so this process of allowing that synchronicity to happen is mysterious. I think I could make a film about it, because you really do watch it just turn into something that you didn't know, and then a lot of the time you just have to get out of the way, don't you? Because this living organism is telling you, like, we will demand to put a clip in, and you watch it back and you go, okay, I get it. It just spits it back out at you. It's a mysterious process, isn't it?
Well, I think, and that one of the things that you'll be aware of too is that experience does allow you to be more generous with those changes. I think when we were first starting out, we were much more rigid, and we'd have many more fights over things that couldn't happen, and held on to them tight. And in fact, we made, because we knew this was a pretty big logistical trip, we made actually a sort of pledge between ourselves that sometimes, we really recognized that we would lose good things, and good things would happen, and that we weren't to get too involved with them, and just we really made that something, because when you're traveling on a train overnight to get to your next destination, and you're carrying all your gear, and you're not sure where you're sleeping, and you're turning up at 8 p.m. to meet someone you've never met before with a new cameraman, you can't afford to be too or sort of too sure of what you're going to get. You have to you have to arrive going, oh, okay, this is what it looks like. Oh, nice to meet you. And sit and maybe have a cup of tea and get to know them a bit first, and then, just get on with the filming. But you really do have to be kind of kind and very open, I think, looking at what you've got and kind of making the most, sort of stepping back when you arrive and making the most of what your, camera shots can look like, what your interview's going to look like, and what B-roll you're going to get. You just have to be very present, and I think we really train for that in lots of ways. When we're in pre-production, we really physically we train, and we meditate, and we
get ready. We get ready.
It's because you have to be match fit.
Absolutely, and I love the Zen aspect of the way that you're approaching this, because it's my attachment to the outcome that's going to cause my pain. It's also going to cause me to overlook the gems that are right in front of me as we're going. So do you find that you're better filmmakers having made these 6 documentaries that you would have, the things you've learned about yourselves that you're going to be applying on the way forward as a learning filmmaker?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think we. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting.
We always
success is a funny word, but what is success? But the fact that our films have been have received such big audiences and been reviewed so positively, in the mainstream media and stuff. I know that personally has helped me, feeling like that. Yeah, my stories and my work, there's an audience for that. And, that's my journey of not that I needed that, but that certainly helped me going forward, that to trust my process.
Yep.
Because it's worked and people want to see it. And so that's only come from a lot of hard work and a lot of failures.
Absolutely.
Not all of our projects have worked, but the ones that have enabled the next one to come along, and of course, there's nothing like that experience, and being able to, what is it? It's being able to test the waters, isn't it? Test the audiences with your films. That's,
exactly where you where you sit there and you go, okay.
Yeah.
You put
Me-
your heart and your soul and
Mm.
there it is. I'm so pleased to have met you mid-career, because I love to see this. I love to see. I'm in the fourth quarter of my career. I don't know, in Australian football they don't go do quarters, do they?
Yes.
Do they? All right. I'm in the fourth quarter of my career. I feel like you guys are at halftime, and you're getting a chance to see what you're going to do and how you're. And so
Interesting.
I so appreciate that you're getting an opportunity to do this, because I'm learning more and growing more than I ever have at any time in my life. Please do
Wow.
not believe the press that they tell you about aging. I am having more fun. I'm
Yeah.
learning. I'm making more mistakes. I'm growing. This is an extraordinary time on the planet, and you guys are documenting it. This
Mm.
is a time when people are coming together. It looks rough, but people are coming together, and you're giving an opportunity. There is uh, such a spiritual wholeness to the work that I've seen of yours, and the work that I'm looking forward to seeing more of as we're
Mm.
coming in the coming years.
Oh, thank you, Dennis.
you.
That's so nice to say. And yeah, it's good. It's interesting to see it like that, where we are on the path. And, I think, to look for, in a way, to show what's happening, and to kind of look for the beauty in individuals and humanity and what's happening is important, not just for us as filmmakers, because we get to sit in that kind of magic, but I think everyone needs that. Everyone needs to be able to step off the fear-based kind of politics and world order, and just enjoy individuals and enjoy the human spirit. And we really aim to capture that in our work.
Yeah, it's certainly what makes me tick every day, that, finding people that inspire me, and that's what makes me tick. And I've been documenting since 8mm film cameras as a 12-year-old. That's what I do. I just want to document people that inspire me, and it's done me well so far.
Well, thank you for letting me document you too, where you are at this time, and we'll get a chance down the road to be able to see what you've learned about yourselves around this time. Congratulations on eating plants. Congratulations on this part of the process. I realize that we're in the labor stage where you're about to drop, and to be able to do, and then you'll have all this wonderful opportunity to take care of your babies and send them out to the world. But thank you both. Thank you
Thanks,
for coming
Dennis.
on to Reasonably Spontaneous Conversation, and thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will see everybody next time.
This episode of Reasonably Spontaneous Conversations has been brought to you in part by In Search of the New Compassionate Male. For more information, go to newcompassionatemale.com.